Welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to have you. Pull up a chair. Right around the corner is Valentine's Day, and Valentine's Day is coming quick and hot, and you need to get your spouse, significant other, or mother something sweet, right? And this, hey, you got a girlfriend? This is something like that that they're going to need in their life. They need flowers. Who doesn't need flowers? Everyone needs flowers. Make your mother a flower. Make your wife or your husband a flower like these. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to carve some flowers out of 1x1 sticks, 4 inches long, and several varieties. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. All righty, folks. So today we're going to carve flowers. And before I get too far into the sizes here, I want to point out something, okay? The size I'm going to give you is just for the block that I'm carving. But look at these two. The size of the tulip is different. The size of the base is different. It doesn't matter. So don't get caught up on the sizes of this one, because you can adjust the sizes as needed, make several that are a little bit smaller, a little bit larger, make the pots bigger, make the pots round, make the pots cylindrical, make them square, make them whatever you want to make it your own. I'm just going to show you how to get a flower out of the shape. So for this one, we're going to come down about 1 1/8 to our top line. Then our middle is going to be about 2 1/4, right about there. And then from the bottom, we're going to go about the 3-inch mark right there for a little pot. And then I'm going to take those lines and I'm just going to continue them all around the outside edge. Now, while I do that, I want to tell you, this is going to be a knife-only project. We're not going to use any other tools. No palm tools, no gouges, no V-tools, nothing, just a knife, nothing else. Nice and easy. And the reason I carved so many of these to start with is because I want to give you guys a lot of options when painting. I want to go over in the painting video blending and dry brushing and several different effects I think would be really neat. And I thought, man, this would be a perfect time to go over that. So let's go ahead and do it. All right, that's the T for top, B for bottom, and that's where we're at. So knife only. And you'll notice I've got a carving glove on. I didn't used to always have a carving glove on, and I'm going to be wearing them more often because I don't want people getting injured, and I want to help people build the right habits when it comes to carving. And having a carving glove on is fantastic. I suggest that you get an A5 or better carving glove. Why do I suggest an A5 or better? Because I've cut myself through an A3 and I have not cut myself through an A5. So that's why I suggest an A5. This is a really sharp knife, and I can show you that it's a sharp knife, right? Look at the way it cuts. Nice and easy, no problems, no fuss, no muss. But it doesn't cut me, and it doesn't cut through this glove. It can stab me through this glove, but it's not going to slice through the glove, which is fantastic. So that's why you want to wear a carving glove. Now, let's go ahead and start on the carving real fast, and we'll go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to start by putting some little V-notches here and setting in the top of the tulip. You're not going to do this in one cut. You're going to do this in several cuts to deepen it as you go around and start to make that separation. If the first cut doesn't line up exactly on your lines, do it again and fix it. People think that wood carving isn't very forgiving, and it really can be if you can be forgiving and learn how to adapt. The difficulty in that and adapting is basically all on the carver. It's what your mindset is as to whether or not you can adapt to new situations and to the changes that have to happen for your carving to be saved if you make a mistake. So now we got those corners in. We're going to go ahead and connect the two all the way around, pushing in like so, and doing that. The reason we did the corners first is because it's significantly easier because we have less wood to take out there. So that's why we did the corners first. Looking for a way to get these forms the easy way. And a better carver than me might be able to look at this and say, Johnny, I can think of 2 easier ways than you did. And that's just fine. There are a lot of folks out there that are better at this than I am. I am not an expert. I am just an enthusiastic amateur showing my journey and sharing how to carve the fun little things that I get carved, because I think other people might enjoy it as well. So I'm just cleaning up those corners again one more time, And then we're going to take about 1/4 of an inch off the top of this tulip. Not off the top, off the sides right here. Now, if you go too deep, the wood's going to wind up splitting. So even on this, I'm just going to take a little bit of time to get about 1/4 of an inch, right like so. See that? So we do that on all 4 corners. And the last one. Let me take a little bit more off of that side there. And that's looking pretty good, right? I think that's looking pretty good. Okay, so we got that started. Now right here is going to be the top of the pot. So we're going to start by coming straight in on that and then carving down to it from the top. Excuse me. Using that left thumb to bring the knife in. The right hand is just holding the knife. The left thumb is doing all the pulling right there. So if you're wondering, is it safe he's cutting in that direction toward himself? It is, because of how I did it. So rocking the knife in. And then again, you can see I'm going to barely hold on to this knife while I do this, right? It's the left thumb that's doing all of the work and the guiding here. My right hand is only supporting the weight of the knife. Even on that cut, it's the left thumb that's doing all the work. If you take a look at this glove, right? You can see I've used this glove a lot because this stuff's all coming off here where that left thumb is doing all that pushing. And I'm probably going to need to start wrapping this in vet tape just to like protect it more, because that left thumb is the one doing all of the work. If I do that, I have more control over the knife. Now, I consistently have said in past videos that controlling the knife is more important than wearing a glove, because if you don't ever accidentally cut yourself or accidentally poke into your skin, you won't need to wear a glove. And that is true. But there's too many folks that are just not that experienced. And when you're starting out, I need to really express how important this glove can be so you can even get started in the hobby. Because if you get barely into it and then you get cut, well, that's no fun. That's no fun at all. So wear a glove. And I'm going to be wearing gloves in my videos from now on, just to keep reiterating that and try to push the the idea and the knowledge that safety is important on this, and that it can really work out to your benefit if you wear a glove. So, all right, now we're going to work on the bottom of the still. We're going to start connecting the middle parts here. So I'm going to rock back and forth on that blade right here and then carve down to it and chip that out. Same thing again, rocking back and forth. And this is where someone can cut themselves. I'm not getting that tip against my skin, but rocking like this, they could cut into that finger right there. And that's something they could accidentally do so easily. And I promised myself that I am going to learn how to use a glove with carving, because I'm in this for the long haul. I'm going to be carving for a lot of years. And on a long enough time span, I'm probably going to wind up getting hurt eventually if I don't wear a glove, because on a long enough time span, the odds of having an accident are high. And some accidents, if you cut yourself with a knife, can be so bad that you lose mobility in your hand or lose ability in your fingers if you cut the wrong things. And I don't want to do that. I don't want you to do that either. And this can be a very safe hobby if we treat it as such and if we're careful. So let's be careful. All right, I'm going to stop preaching to you about gloves. I'm going to stop talking to you about that. Let's talk about the carving. So we've started to set that bottom in, and it's going to look rough and terrible through here, and that's okay. We're going to fix that later. But for now, we're going to start bringing that stem out. We're going to carve away all of this. So we got a lot of work to do here. And we're going to do the same thing we just did here, up here. We're going to carve straight in on that line and then carve down to it, okay? We'll be very gentle as we do this. Left thumb is the impetus. Left thumb is the engine behind our work here as we start this. And this is just going to be a whole lot of little cuts as we start to build that stem. So again, rocking back and forth, cutting down to it. It's just a whole lot of little work. I'll take a moment to say this too real fast. If you like this video, if you enjoy the channel at all, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below and tell me that you like the video, because that kind of thing encourages me. I enjoy it, and it makes me more apt to want to make more videos. So I really appreciate it if you did that. Even if you just put in the comment, hey Johnny, it's good to hear from you. Thanks for making a video. Or just say, hey Johnny, I like your new desk, or I like your, not new desk, new wood carving tool tote, or I like your anything, whatever you want to do. Say something, talk to me. I'm the kind of person that responds. I talk back. There we go. So I'm just still taking out little bits of wood here, okay? And just working my way around, not doing much, not doing a lot at once, because we got to go deep on this. And it's delicate work to get a stem in the middle of this. So we're going to be slow at this. I'll carve the opposite direction here. Start taking that corner off as I carve up to this. And chip it out. Do the same thing on all the corners. If you have to push too hard, you're taking too much wood. Stop and try again. Like so. We're not in a rush. We're not in a hurry. Carving is a relaxing hobby. It does not have to be something that we rush on. Rushing a hobby, we get hurt. And plus, we got time. This is carving time. This is relaxation time. Okay, now I'm going to go back to working the bottom. I'm going to cut across there by rocking back and forth. And then simple little slices, chip it out. Rock back and forth, and then cut down to it and chip it out. Rock back and forth, cut down to it, chip it out. And the last one, same thing. Same thing. If you're following along on the channel, you may have noticed I did a gnome video recently. I hope you liked it. If you were hoping to get a gnome video today, well, I'm sorry, but Valentine's Day is around the corner, and we need to be prepared. So I thought, man, I better put something out along those lines today. There will be at least one gnome video a week until I get that gnome series done. So that's my plan, is for Mondays to be gnome content for a little bit until we get that done. And Wednesdays, if I can do 2 videos in a week, Wednesdays will have something else. That's only if I can do 2 videos in a week. We'll see. I'm going to try to do as many as I can, because the channel grows more when I do that. I'm reaching more people, and I want to get as many people into wood carving as I possibly can. It's a really fun hobby. You can make really neat things. And yeah. Plus, I enjoy the interactions with people. I really do. It's fun for me. So we're just doing this same thing. We're going back and forth. I carve down towards the base, chip it out. I carve up towards the tulip, right? This is not a cut for cut kind of following thing. This is a, we're digging a hole, just get the dirt out kind of thing. And we just keep working on it. You want to make sure you're paying attention to how deep you get on each side, because you want to make sure this is centered up. It's going to wind up being about 1/4 of an inch wide all the way around in the middle. But look at it from the side every now and then as you're carving. Take a look and see where you're at. And then rotate it around. Take a little bit of wood out. Don't take too much at a time. Don't try to bite off more than you can chew, because that's where you're going to wind up ruining your carving, cutting yourself, or making some other kind of mistake. No, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. And if you'll see, I'm kind of carving it on a plane now, right? I'm kind of carving an octagon in the middle, which doesn't matter. That's just a habit that I've gotten into for shapes when I'm carving. You can do it however you want to, whatever works for you. I'm pushing there, and that's where it got real hard. So that means I might be taking too much. So I'm going to try to half that and chip it, and the other half and chip it. There we go. If it gets too hard, people start pushing real hard, and that's where they can wind up making mistakes. We don't want to make mistakes. And also, if you're pushing too hard, it might just be that your knife isn't sharp enough. So take a little bit if you want to, and strop your knife. When did I strop my knife? Immediately before I started this carving session. Just keep whittling away at it. This is where that saying comes from, you know? We're whittling away at this thing, getting it smaller and smaller. And that wood grain is going vertically through here. So that's really going to keep it strong. It's going up and down through here. That's what's going to keep the stem strong. It's just that we have to be careful not to take out too much and leave it weak. We want to have it strong enough, like a tree stump, you know, that it can support this and not have any issues, but thin enough that it looks appropriate. And we're getting there just a little bit at a time. You'll notice I do a little bit and I rotate. I'm trying to keep it even. So how am I doing on that? I'm not doing too bad. Not doing too bad at all. Actually, I think maybe a little more on this side, and I may be done with it for that stem. I think we did. I think we got that stem done. Okay, so that is the bear of the work when it comes to this. Now we got to pick which side is going to be the front of our carving, right? Because what we're going to wind up doing is having it, right? We're going to wind up having to take some off more on two sides than the front and back here. So let's say that we were on those sides. So let's go ahead and say this is the front, okay? So if that's the front, this is the left side, we're going to work on bringing this left side here in real deep here. So I'm just going to be carving down and trying to take more away at the bottom than at the top. I want to keep that top where it's at, and I just want to keep bringing it in. If going across that whole distance is hard, have it, or just do from the corners, and then do more from the corners to where you get deeper and deeper in, like this. Then come through the middle if you can, until you start to develop that in like so. Right? We're going to do the other side the same way. And if you don't want to go through the whole across the whole thing, do it from one side, and then do it from the other, and then try to do the middle. If any cut feels like it's too much, try to take out less and try again. That's coming along pretty well. I think we're going to call that pretty good. Okay, so this is the front and back. That's the left and right. We need to start taking out some of this and bringing it in pretty close. So how are we going to do that? Well, for one, we do the same thing on the side we just did to the front to bring this in. And then we're going to carve up from here. And this can be hard. So I'm going to hold it nice and firm. I'm going to keep my fingers here out of the way of the blade. And then I'm going to use my thumb as a pivot point. I'm going to ratchet this around, okay? And I'm going to try to take off just a little bit at a time. My thumb is the pivot point here. What does Archimedes say? Give me a lever long enough and I'll move the world. We're doing a lever action off of that thumb and taking off a lot of that wood right there. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Dig us a little trench right there at the bottom. Okay. And that's pretty good. And then again, I'll try to take too much off. It didn't want to come. Oh, I lost control of it there. That's why you keep your fingers out of the way, huh? There we go. Coming right along. Okay. Back over here to take more off of that side. Rotate it around, take a look at it as you do it. Look for what you want, where you want to work. How much more do I want to take off here? How much more do I want to take off there? Remember, you don't have to make pretty cuts immediately right now. You can clean them up later. It's just that you have to spend time cleaning them up. I think that we're doing pretty good there. I want to have it be kind of wide. So let's go ahead and round off these corners here. Like so. One more. Like that. Now we're going to make that channel that you see. Look at the overlay right there, and you can see what we're going for. So I'm going to come in and make a V cut. Now I'm going to come in straight with the knife. I'm not coming in canted at any angle, just at like a, what is this, a 4 o'clock position around there. So like that. And about midway through this bottom thing is where the tip of the blade is going to be. And I'm just going to rock it in. I'm going to try to go to the depth of the stem, right like so. It's kind of hard to see. There you can see pretty well. So about that deep, okay? I'm going to pull the knife out. I'm going to do the same thing from the other direction, right here, and have the tip of the knife meet up in the same spot, right there. I'm just going to rock it in. And see, it's going to be the same depth as it is on the other side. And then I'm going to come in from the top and just try to pivot in there like so to cut that chip out. Nice and gently. Like so. If it didn't come out all the way, you got a little bit left over in there, go back in with a knife. See if you can't slice it out. And then to round that off, so you can see like that edge right here is a little bit high still. I'm going to come in like so. The top, we've rounded off mostly. So that's what we got going on. Let's do the same thing on the other side. So a little bit quicker this time because you know what's going on. I'm going to put that knife in there. Rotate it down. There's the depth. Then go to the other side, do the same thing. Put the knife in there. Rock it on down. I got my depth. Pull it out. And now we're going to do that lever action. So you get in there, up underneath it, like so. And there's that chip. Take out those two little corners. Like that. Yeah, we're making good progress right there. Now, we want to separate more out up here along this section. I'm going to come in on that corner to try to clean that up. And see, making a couple of cuts there till I get it. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. Same thing on this side. Being very careful to control the knife. You don't want to take off too much, a little bit at a time. Now we're going to do little V cuts right here. Little V cuts to deepen that. I'm not pushing hard. And I'm not taking off much wood. I'm taking off as little wood as I can. And just make a lot of cuts to do it. So that's kind of what we got going on there. You can see it better. It rounded that in a little bit. You see? Take your time to do that. If you try to take off too much at once, you're going to either break your carving by cutting the wrong spot, or you might wind up cutting yourself, or just, destroying the carving. So I'm going to round that in a little bit on each side if I can. Start to make that a little more petal-like. like so. That side's looking pretty good. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Just to bring that in. To bring this side in. And kind of fix that corner right there a little bit at an angle. We can do the same thing on this side here. That looks a little better. Let's do that over here too. 45 that. How do I do it this side? I'm right-handed, so I do it like this. Nice and gentle. Okay. Now, if you have a stiff bristle brush, that's the point to use it right there. Knock all that fluff out of there if you can. And there we go. We have got the startings of a nice little flower there. I'm going to take those saw marks off right there if you can. And then carve that side in. And that side in as well. A little chip there I want to get rid of. Okay, now we got to decide what we're going to do with the base. Do we want to make it cylindrical? Do we want to make it rectangular like those? Since the group video, I made a rectangular base that was angled at the bottom. I think that we're just going to go cylindrical on this guy because I want to do something different for a video. Now that's taking off too much at once. Let's take off less. This is what they call a paring cut. And I'm using the knife like this right here. My right thumb is pushing the carving and the knife is mostly staying still. Same thing in all these corners here. I'm just gonna take off 1/4 of an inch maybe on all 4 corners. Eyeball that, that's looking pretty good. Let's get another corner here. And then there. And now I'm going to try to soften each of those corners here all the way around and remove all of that saw marks as well. And that B. Again with those ones. Nice and gentle as we go around. Absolutely perfect. I'll take a chance to mention too, if you don't follow me on Instagram, head over there, give me a follow. There is a fantastic wood carving community over on Instagram, and it is a lot of fun, for me at least, to see everyone's carvings and be able to interact with each other. I highly encourage you to come over there. If you post a carving that you've done of mine, tag me. Let me know. I want to see that. I always like to see folks carving, especially the attempts they've made at the stuff that I've done. And if there's something you didn't quite understand, mention that too. I like to get better at this kind of thing. I'm having fun at this hobby, YouTube, and I want to be better at it. What I'm doing right now is I'm going back in on this base here, and I'm cleaning up those lines we talked about earlier. Should we clean those up later? Well, now is later. Now is that later. And so I'm just recutting, just barely taking stuff off of this edge here as I go around to make a nice smooth surface in there as best I can, because that's going to make this carving look so much better, so much more impressive to folks when they see it. Now, we've got that base done, we got the stem done. The only thing we don't have done is the tulip itself. So before we get too far, I'm going to do paring cuts here. I'm going to take all the saw marks off of the top. Why am I doing that first? Because as we get close to the edge, we can wind up damaging or tearing, and like there it tore a little bit. Well, I don't want to have carved that side if I'm going to tear right there. I'd rather get that top cut first, and then when I come back in here to carve and clean up these edges here of saw marks, I'm doing the same thing in the bottom, rounding this around, taking off those saw marks, rounding that edge, more saw marks to remove. You see this, I'm doing the paring cut here, but I'm keeping that thumb down here. That thumb is acting like the engine for the cuts. And you're going to change how you're carving a particular spot or piece based on what's comfortable to you. You might try something and be like, that's not perfectly comfortable. I'm going to try this other way. Be free to do that. Be willing to change how you're carving something and try new things, because that's how we get better at stuff. Okay, so I got all that cleaned up. I got it rounded off. Now I'm going to work on rounding this bottom off a little bit more, coming down here to the base of the stem and the tulip there. Just kind of take off those hard corners and leave these facets that the knife makes, because I think those are beautiful. I think they're going to look wonderful when we get this done. And then you can see it looks really rough in here around that base. We're going to clean that up right now by recutting it all the way around, right up to the stem. It's hard to hold this exactly right now because the piece got so small. I'm almost a small piece in my hand. This is where those gloves come in handy, because you can cut yourself easy. But also, this is just a spot to take your time. Be slow, be methodical, make every cut count, and don't get in too much of a hurry. See, I'm coming in from the top now on the stem to clean up any spot where my knife blade caught it and doesn't look great. And that right there looks significantly better all the way around. Okay. Now here's the first point that we're going to get the knife back, the pencil back out, because what we're going to do is we're going to carve some lines like this and like that on each side, and it's going to create petals. So we're coming down about 2/3 of the way there and just curving up to the top corner here, and then this side we do the same thing, curving down and then up. Kind of curve that line in, make it round, sloping down the middle and then up to the outside. And that puts little petals on each corner, you see? And so now what we're going to do is we're going to remove that negative space in here. And to do that, I'm going to come in and trace that line. I'm going in at an angle. So looking at the knife here, you can see I'm at an angle, and I'm just going to come down in like so. The same thing to the other side, getting it here, coming down and in. I'm going to flip it upside down, and now I'm going to carve down towards one side and chip it out, back towards the other side, and chip it out if I can. There we go. That's not perfect. You can fix it up a little bit right there. Okay, one more. Carving down and over, then over and up. And then we're going to carve towards that side. And then we're going to carve back away from it, like so. And when done right, it creates kind of like a little point there, right there. So you're creating two planes, one here and then one there with a little point in the middle, And I think that has a really neat effect. I have seen tulips like this for sale on Etsy before, but like mass produced. I mean, like from Chinese suppliers. I've seen like 6, 7 different people making them. I don't think they're actually hand carved. I think that they're made by a machine, but the design is really neat. I don't know if there's a person I can link to the original design for this flower. If there was, let me know down below. If you've seen it and you know exactly who it was, please let me know. I would love to know. I love this design. It's a neat, simple little thing, but not my original design. Like I said, something I saw for sale on Etsy by mass marketers, and I thought that is just something I could carve and I would love to. Okay, that is our little flower, knife only. And if you want to at this point, like we can smooth out this stem a little bit. Try to make this stem a little bit smaller if you wanted to, you know. Doesn't have to be as big as it is there. So you can take a little while and do that and just keep clicking away at it. But like, kind of like Doug Linker says, you got to pick a point to be done with the carving. And if I keep picking at it, I will be picking at it and changing things on it all day long. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this carving over to the sink and I'm going to wash it. And I try to tell people that washing carvings has a massive effect on how it looks. So you're going to see this carving and the ones behind it all get washed up here in 3, 2, 1. And that is our little tulip all washed up. And I love how the water can just really heal a carving, make it look fantastic. It really brings out the grain. So I just scrubbed it under the water for about 2 minutes. But that's where we're at. Next up is a painting video. So if you want to stick around for that, you'll see a link at the end of this video, or you can check out the channel, you'll see it pop up. And that's all I got for you today, folks. Thank you so much for sticking around with me. We've got those flowers carved up for our significant others or our mothers or our girlfriends or whatever we need to give flowers to, whoever we need to give flowers to. We have flowers carved, and you know how to do it going forward. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. If you like this video, if you like the content, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and it really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching the video. And next week, there'll be another gnome video for the whole Fellowship of the Gnome thing that I'm doing. So watch that too. I'll see you next time, and have a good day. Bye.